Hello, good afternoon, and welcome again to Philosophy Pop-Up Workshop. This is Colin Wyatt Letty, and it is a very busy, very foggy Memorial Day weekend, Monday. Happy Memorial Day. We're going to do two videos. This first one is in regards specifically to the Civil War. I'm not a native, so not directly connected to the names here. I want to say several things. I would recommend that anybody who visits Nantucket or people who live here, everybody should come and look at this and walk around it very, very carefully when there isn't a lot of traffic, and really come to appreciate this, whether you're from another part of the country or an immigrant. I also wanted to add something personally. I'm not a native, as I said, but I have many ancestors who were in the Civil War, and not simply North versus South. I have a lot of Southern ancestors who fought for the Union in Tennessee and Kentucky, and Confederates, and mostly Northerners. So it pains me greatly, and I've always been very focused on it. And I want to remind people that we lost 560,000 men, casualties, at a time when the United States had a population of 18 million. And it's just absolute, utter carnage. And the war that really was the first industrial war. I mean, it was the predecessor to World War I. So in any case, I wanted to start by showing this, and we are going to show the names at the end. And I think it's particularly important to mention how much sacrifice Native Nantucketers made during this conflict and others. And you can look downtown at the plaques for the more modern wars, right next to the town building. And on that note, I think we are going to continue on. Thank you very much, and God bless, and we're going to walk around. Again, happy Memorial Day 2021. Here we are on a very foggy, misty, end of storm Monday. And we're going back towards the monument. And I want to preface this by saying, with the absolute utmost respect to all Native Nantucketers who have perished during conflicts that Nantucketers have had to be involved in. So it starts with the absolute utmost respect for that. And certainly we just did a part of that in a narrower context, looking at the Civil War monument. What I would like to do is talk a little bit about family history. And I wanted to talk about one of my ancestors who perished in World War I. On both my father's mother's southern line and my mother's father's Maine, Philadelphia, New York line, there are a lot of veterans. Going back to long before this was a country. Back in wars of existential conflict on the coast of Maine, where my ancestor, Captain John Hill, held the fort. Was the last bastion, or that Maine colony actually could have been swept into the sea. Numerous Southern Captain John Wyatt. There's a whole the list in the genealogy. But these people all survived. And what's remarkable, actually, in family history is that so many were fortunate enough to not only survive, but come home intact or stay home intact. But I wanted to mention a cousin of my mother's who came from the Philadelphia line of hills. And his name was Edward Abbey. And he was an engineering student in Philadelphia. And when World War I broke out in 1914, we weren't in it. So he took a train from Philadelphia to Toronto and signed up with the Canadian Expeditionary Force. And he went over to France and fought with them as a combat engineer. He was in the trenches. When the United States entered in 1917, he immediately switched. And about a month into it, he was killed at the Battle of the Somme in one of the trenches. He wrote a book in which it's filled with letters to his parents and to his mother in particular, a soldier's story. And I thought this year I really, really wanted to mention him. And here we have the monument. And boy, I mean, it's we've been in so many conflicts. We're also an enormous country, and the country that's the most involved in the world in the modern era. I'm hoping, as are some Americans, that the burden will be spread more. We have this ever burgeoning commercial culture, and we really need for young people to see that it's really important to do something beyond oneself. And the military is one big option, but there are lots of other things. Go work in a Crow reservation in Montana. Go work in Appalachia or other rural areas that are struggling throughout the country. Or work in the inner city, teach, or do environmental projects. Do something beyond oneself. And I mean, I know this has been discussed for years. I've been discussing it for many years. Former President Obama certainly mentioned it, and it was around that time that I was starting to express that. And in any case, I just hope everybody appreciates the sacrifices that have been made since the Revolutionary War. And I wish everybody the best, and I hope that people will actually study some of our smaller conflicts, whether it's the Spanish-American War, or for people to really look at Korea, which got lost between World War II and Vietnam, and also happened so fast after the end of World War II. My grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel Horace Hill, was in China during the spring and summer of '49 when the communists took over. And he was actually an observer of a firefight between the Kuomintang, the nationalists, and the communists right at the oil terminal, about 17 miles upriver from Shanghai. And there's actually quite a bit of documentation of it. So I wanted to say something about my grandfather. And let us hope for the best. It's a very, very crowded world, and a lot of different ideas about how to organize society. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm being asked repeatedly to bring this to a close. So again, all the best. God bless. And let us have a peaceful country and a peaceful world. And goodbye.